You want to leave your loved ones a gift, but what if that gift actually turns into a burden? Hi, I'm John Strohmeyer with Strohmeyer Law, where we help our clients leave no unfinished business. While I am a lawyer, I am not your lawyer, so make sure that you discuss your specific situation with your own advisors. Fortunately, we cannot give specific advice to anyone here on our YouTube channel. Now, today we're going to be talking about how to structure beneficiary distributions, gifts, testamentary gifts, all sorts of things where you are trying to help somebody out by leaving them something, but without accidentally leaving them with unexpected costs and other burdens. You're trying to do something nice for these people because you care about them. What you don't want to do is accidentally blunder into creating a bigger headache. There are two ways we want to think about this. Well, first, we don't want to burden them while we're trying to help. Second, we want to make sure that they're getting what they actually need. So, as we think about first, not burdening them, the easy way to think about it is, well, let's say we have one house and one child. That house is going to go to that child, but maybe not any additional cash. If you leave the house to that child, will they be able to care for the house? Are they going to be able to pay the monthly upkeep, the utilities, the taxes, repairs, everything that goes into keeping that house around? Or are they going to receive that house and then immediately have to be burdened into a fire sale because they can't hold on to it? So, thinking through what are you leaving people? Sometimes it's easy for us to fixate on a certain item. This house is worth $500,000 and I want to leave this beneficiary $500,000. Presto chango, I'm just going to leave it to them and there they go. Well, is it going to be a good idea? Are they going to have more headaches? If they go and sell that house, they may end up paying 6% in realtor fees, 3% in closing costs, and all of a sudden that $500,000 gift has turned into a little over $450,000 after costs of sale. Is that what you really wanted? Probably not. Similarly, another way that you can burden them is, well, instead of one child, what if there were three children who you want to leave something to? You've got the one house, you want them to get the benefit of that house. But what if two of them want to live in that house and the third one just wants to sell? If they can't afford to buy each other out, it could get contentious and you could be creating a fight for them. So, thinking through that future potential cost of litigation, of the headaches that go along with leaving them something that they can't effectively use. So, as you consider gifts that you're leaving for your beneficiaries, consider who the beneficiary is and how they'll receive it. For example, is that beneficiary financially stable enough to be able to handle the asset? Sure, it's easy enough if you're leaving them cash, but if they've got something else, if you're leaving them a house or a car, some other asset that's not liquid, it may be more difficult for them than you're really intending. And thinking through also, are there any costs that are associated with this gift? Now, an easy thing to think about here is income tax. If you leave a beneficiary an IRA, well, they're going to have to pull the money out. As they pull that money out, they're going to have to recognize income tax on those distributions and then pay tax on it. So if you leave somebody a $100,000 IRA and they pull all the money out, potentially they could pay 20, 30% tax, depending obviously on their own tax situation. And so that $100,000 may only be $75,000 or $80,000 by the time the IRS has taken their share. On the flip side of that, if you're thinking about leaving money to a charity, an IRA might be a perfect way of doing that because the IRA can easily go to that charity, they can take their share, and they won't be burdened by that income tax. So, thinking through who are the beneficiaries, how can we leverage what we have to make sure there aren't any additional costs that we're not thinking about? We want to make sure that we've thought through what the beneficiary is going to get and how they're going to get it. You'll think about leaving some sort of perhaps additional cash gifts to them so that they can have that cash in place to take care of the gift. Turning to the second idea on this, you'll want to think about what shares are actually appropriate for your beneficiaries. Now, when clients show up at our office, they're married and they have kids, chances are their plan is going to be everything's going to go to the surviving spouse on the first spouse's death. And then on the second spouse's death, we're going to be leaving everything in equal shares, more or less, to the kids. Now, this is good for most families, but that's not always the right answer. It works out when the kids are all fully capable of taking care of themselves. There are no future expected extraordinary costs for any of those children. And frankly, the kids get along. But every beneficiary is going to have their own unique circumstances. Every child will be different. They're going to have their own particular cost structure for their life. And so, thinking through, is this appropriate? Have we considered what Billy is going to need for the rest of his life? And is Billy going to need more than Susie? If Billy is going to have unexpected or but predictably high medical costs for the rest of his life, you may want to consider leaving more to Billy. Why? It's his cost structure is going to be higher and you want to take care of all of them. This way, Billy and Susie really are getting similar items or similar amounts. This way, Billy and Susie are both getting taken care of, but they're getting taken care of in a way that reflects who they are and what they actually need. Perhaps, though, Billy might get significant governmental support. If he's getting benefits, then maybe you don't need to leave him as much and you can leave more to Susie. Or maybe it's just an equal share. Again, you'll have to look at your individual beneficiaries to come up with the right plan for them. What we're thinking about here is a definition of fair that may be different than equal. What we're looking to do here is make sure that things are fair, even if they're not necessarily equal. Making sure that your beneficiaries receive something similar and proportional to what they need. It'll make sure that things work out in the longer term. An important safety tip. If you're going to leave different shares to different beneficiaries, it is important to make sure that they know that this is going to happen and make sure that you've discussed it with them up front. I like to say that nobody enjoys a surprise unless it's their birthday, and even me, I don't on my birthday, I don't like surprises. They're certainly not going to like a surprise of you got a smaller share than your sibling after you're gone. There's going to be upset and hurt feelings at that, more than likely. You can stave that off by having the discussion now. Susie, Billy, we're leaving a little bit more to Billy because he'll have higher medical needs. If you have a problem, I'm happy to talk about it, but this is the plan we're going to. Something like that is what you should be thinking about. The good news is if you have this discussion with them early, then it'll help inoculate against future problems later on. Documenting your files, letting the future executors know that Susie knew about this plan the year you created it and that she was fine with it then. It'll help stave off a later lawsuit challenging this after you're gone. If you've told her that this wasn't going to work, or if you told Billy that he's going to get less because he's expected to continue government benefits, it helps make things easier for those who are left behind because they knew why you did it and when you did it. So, as we try and pull it together, remember your goal here is to help and not burden your beneficiaries. What you want to do is not only consider the long term costs of what you leave behind, but also the beneficiaries themselves. Fair isn't always going to be equal. Sometimes your best plan is going to be tailored to each beneficiary's real needs. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.